To rent or to own? That is the question. Stay tuned. I'm going to tell you all about the big decision on this week's episode of the Clouse Corner. Okay, so you're living in Seattle and you're wondering, should I rent or should I own? Is it really worth owning in this market? So clients ask me this question all the time. So I thought I'd break down a couple of the numbers. Now, this example comes from a $450,000 purchase in Washington State. So these costs are approximates, but it will give you sort of an idea of what it costs to rent versus own. So if you were to rent the equivalent of a $450,000 house, it would probably be somewhere around $1,900 per month. Now, rent does increase every year, so we'll use a 9-year span to talk about the difference in renting versus owning. So you could assume a conservative increase of about 3% per year on rent. So after 9 years, you went from about $1,900 a month to somewhere around $2,400 a month. Now, if you got into contract on a $450,000 home today with approximately 5% down on the purchase, your monthly payment with mortgage and interest, as well as taxes, would be somewhere around $2,900 per month. Now, the first difference between renting versus owning over 9 years is that your mortgage payment is going to stay pretty constant over those 9 years. So during the first year and the 9th year, your payment is about $2,900. Whereas your rental payment goes from $1,900 the first year to a little over $2,400 in the 9th year. So your cash flow difference is somewhere a little over $90,000 that you're losing when you own versus when you rent, because your monthly payment is actually smaller as a renter than it is as an owner, although it is continuing to increase over time. You may be taking more money out of your bank account per month, but what people forget to think about is the appreciation gain. So over 9 years, on a $400,000 purchase, if you're assuming conservatively 5 to 6% appreciation, you are getting about $360,000 of appreciation in the home. Now, this isn't guaranteed because the housing market, similar to the stock market, goes up and down. You're not always going to have appreciation or depreciation on your home. So your $450,000 purchase is now valued at somewhere around $800,000 after 9 years. Now, this is assuming that the market continues to grow at 5 to 6% per year, which, as I mentioned, is not always the case, but could be the case. Now, the other thing that people don't think about is your amortization gain. So this is the gain on the money that you're paying off on your loan. So the principal balance that you're paying down. If you were to purchase that $450,000 home, you'd be paying down after 9 years a little over $77,000. So you're paying yourself back that money towards your loan as opposed to giving that to your landlord or your rental corporation. In addition to that, with a standard tax deduction for a home buyer, over those 9 years, you're saving somewhere in the ballpark of about $19,000 back on your taxes. So how does this all add up after 9 years? Well, the first year that you buy, you're going to be in the red because money is coming out of your bank account for your down payment, and you're paying more than what you were going to pay if you had rented each month. But as you get into the second and third year, and eventually into the 9th year, you're actually making a lot of money because you not only have the appreciation gain as well as the tax savings that you're getting as a standard deduction, but you also have the amortization gain of over $77,000 that you paid back to yourself. So after 9 years, when you take into account these gains, both the appreciation and the amortization as well as the tax savings, but you deduct the cost of selling, which is about 8 to 9% for a seller, you're still gaining about $300,000 in equity from owning versus renting. So what I tell my clients is, if you don't plan to own for more than 2 years, it's probably a better decision to rent. But if you see yourself as an investor in the home that you're purchasing, whether you live there or you decide to rent it out, you're actually making more money over the long run by paying for a home as opposed to renting. Although your cash flow difference is negative when you look at it versus renting, you're actually making more money over the long haul, but that profit is delayed until you sell. The other thing you might not think about when you decide to rent versus own is when you own, you get to really customize your home. So you get to decide what to paint, if you want to do some remodeling, and how you want to live in the home. There aren't as many restrictions as when you rent. That, in addition to if you have a pet, there's absolutely no pet rent when you own your own home versus when you rent. So just a few things to think about. That's why I love owning my own home, because I can really do whatever I want to it. Each situation is different, and it really depends on how long you plan to own the home to decide whether renting versus buying is right for you. So there you have it. There's an estimation of a $450,000 purchase in Washington state. Now it's up to you to decide if renting versus buying is the right choice for you. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can call, text, or DM me. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give it a big thumbs up. We'd love if you share this with someone who you think might find this helpful. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.